Stand by to receive our transmission.
Transfer complete.
Hello and welcome to the IndieBlogg for Stardate 0705.06. The interviews continue this month with lots more great indie musicians and industry people. So don't get out of your seat because we're about to leave orbit.
It's time for cool stuff.
Hey everybody, it's been a real pleasure doing these IndieBlogg interviews for you, and this one's really special because I have with me Christine Ohlman.
Hello everybody out there in Blogland. I'm the Beehive Queen.
We'll be hearing more about that in just a second.
My name is Christine Ohlman. They call me the Beehive Queen. I connect with an audience heart to heart and soul to soul. I want to touch, get close, get the hip shake going on, the feet dancing, the ears wide open. That mind-body response. For me, it's all or nothing, so it has to be deep. In my work on Saturday Night Live, in the world of the blues, and in performances that support my own recordings, I go for that late night, midnight hour feel, so I can really throw down. When I work my thing on you.
Christine Ohlman is one of those artists who's been working her thing on us for decades. And whether you recognize her or not, or recognize her name, she's been in the trenches of the music industry, in the forefront of the music industry, working with some of the biggest names in the business, and working her thing up front, up close, in your face for a long time. So we're going to get inside the Beehive with this IndieBlogg interview and talk to Christine Ohlman, the longtime vocalist for the Saturday Night Live band, lead singer and leader of Rebel Montez, and all-around incredible musician. So to get the ball rolling, let's engage the interview mode. My first question for Christine, how did you get started? Go back to your childhood. Let's bring you back, do a little hypnosis, and bring you back in time to your childhood. And tell us how you got started, what influenced you to become a musician? What was it that attracted you to it?
Well, I was always the ham of the family. From the time I was about 7 years old, my parents couldn't keep me away from all the family gatherings. You know, I'd be out there with my cousins singing songs and dancing. When I was 13, I started seriously thinking about singing in front of people. And my brother and I started a band when I was 16 and he was 50. I sang and he played drums. We played high school dances around Connecticut, which is where we had grown up. And then in college, when I got into college, we took it a little further. We hooked up with a recording studio in Connecticut and a management company, and we began seriously going around. We made our first record when I was 18 and he was 17, and just went on from there. The Scratch Band was a band that I was in that grew. Our first band was called the Wrong Black Bag. Our second band was called Fancy, and then that evolved into a group called the Scratch Band in the early 70s, and that's where I met G.E. Smith, and we were together for about 6 or 7 years, and then that band broke up. I had a band called Christine Ohlman and the Soul Rockers, and right around the time of that band turning into Christine Ohlman and Rebel Montez, I got a call from G.E. to ask me to come and play on Saturday Night Live with the band. Actually, in the first place, to do a private gig with them, and which turned out to be Lorne Michaels' wedding, and then from there to actually perform on the show. So if I hadn't known G.E. earlier from being in the Scratch Band, the thing with Saturday Night Live never would have happened. And I've had 4 records with Rebel Montez and Christine Ohlman and Rebel Montez, and I'm working on a 5th during the summer of 2007. I'll be starting that. G.E. and I continue to work together all the time. In fact, we'll be in France this summer of 2007. And everything, you know, I find that everything evolves probably as it should, and my early days singing soul music and the blues are still reflected now in my songwriting and the records that I make today.
Yeah, I guess they are, Christine. You know, most people probably know you from your Saturday Night Live work as the lead vocalist, especially during the days when the band was featured prominently before and after the commercial breaks and you were actually on the air and visible to the people watching the show. But even today, as you continue to sing during the breaks to the studio audiences, and you're doing all this great work with the band for the show. So I'd love to hear a little bit more about that, a little more detail about the whole gig with Saturday Night Live and G.E. Smith.
I started working with the band on Saturday Night Live in 1991 when G.E. Smith was the musical director. And during those years, earlier years, the band used to be featured during the show a lot. So we had a lot of airtime. We got a chance to, we call them band shots. They're called band shots. And of course I'm continuing with the band, and I am the featured vocalist with the band. But we really don't get seen on air anymore, and most of my work now is done off air. But that's fine. It's still a wonderful band. It's a wonderful gig. And we do, in addition to singing for the studio audience, we do pre-recorded music for the show. That's always been the case. So the commercial parodies that are on, and some of the skits that are set up. Over the years, we've done quite a few of those. Carol, Debbie Downer, Brian Fellows, Safari Planet. We've had quite a few of those over the years where we provide the sort of ongoing sketch music, and that's all pre-recorded. So it's very interesting work on the show, and the chance to work with a really exceptional group of musicians. They're just one of the most wonderful bands with a full horn section, so I get to sing a lot of great soul tunes with them, and that's just a real gift when you have a full band like that to sing to front.
That's the title track off of this album called Wicked Time. So, how do you do it, Christine? I mean, you're doing this stuff with Saturday Night Live. You've been doing that for years. You've got all these albums you've released. You've got all these musical projects you're always playing with all these big name musicians. You're all over the place. How do you fit it all into your schedule?
Well, first of all, I think the main thing to emphasize is that there's not a big time commitment with Saturday Night Live. We only have 20 shows in any calendar year, so I always tell people that it really should be called Saturday Night Half Live, not live. It's 32 weeks of the year. It's not live. It's a rerun. And our commitment with the music is really only Friday and Saturday, and some weeks only Saturday. It's a very long day on Saturday when I'm there, but it's about a 14-hour day. We start at 11 o'clock in the morning. But other than that, it's really a pretty restricted time commitment. So I'm able to do a lot of other things. My own band, Christine Ohlman and Rebel Montez, as well as a lot of the all-star things I participate in. I'm do a lot of different, work with a lot of different units, as well as Rebel Montez. Of course, Rebel Montez being the unit that I record with and make my records with, it leaves me a lot of time for other pursuits.
Well, since you've mentioned your band, now's as good a time as any to tell us a little bit more about your group, Rebel Montez.
Christine Ohlman and Rebel Montez is my main performance and recording unit since the late 80s. The members of the band are Mike Colbath on bass, Larry Donahue on drums, and Cliff Goodwin on guitar. Cliff is the newest member. He and I work together also in the Mohegan Sun All-Stars in Connecticut. Our guitarist, longtime guitarist, Eric Fletcher, passed away very unexpectedly in May of 2006. We continue to miss him every day. Eric appeared on all of our records. We have 4 CDs out. The CDs are in backwards chronological order: Strip, Wicked Time, Radio Queen, and The Hard Way. They are available on www.indiegate.com/Christine Ohlman, which is this great website here. You can get them there. And we're working on a new record currently in pre-production. The working title is The Deep End. These are songs that I wrote after the loss of my longtime partner, my soulmate, Doc Cavalier, who passed away in 2005. And they are songs, just new songs about my life as it is now. As a songwriter, of course, you're always writing about your feelings and sort of the outside world as it relates to your life for the most part. So the exciting thing about this new record is that it will include guest appearances by a lot of wonderful guitarists who are personal friends of mine, and many of whom stepped forward right after Eric's death to offer their services, and people as diverse as G.E. Smith, Andy York, Marshall Crenshaw, and just a bunch of great players, and some that I don't even want to mention because they're not locked down yet. But there's going to be a lot of great guitarists on this record, and that's going to make it very interesting. So check it out, and that'll be on IndieGate too.
You know, Christine, you bring something up that I'd like to ask you about, without getting too serious. But I've experienced loss in my life, and I know that you lost 2 people that were very close to you. I never had the pleasure of meeting Eric Fletcher, but I did know Doc Cavalier for many years, and I've known you for some time now, and I know that you've been staying strong. And as an artist, I'm wondering, how you've been coping with it, and if it's affected the art in any way. I'm just curious about, how you're doing.
Be sure to watch part 2 of the IndieBlogg for the answer to that question and more as the interview with Christine Ohlman continues.